discovered that I was better at picking people that I liked than I didn't like the guys that found me.
Yeah, our first date was definitely a hit. We
Yeah.
definitely hit it off right off the bat. I had been doing the internet dating for probably a couple years off and on. Like I would meet someone and date for a few months or even a year or two. But I had had great success, so anytime something didn't work out or we broke up, I just went back to the same website. And so over the course of a couple of years, I definitely dated a lot of people.
I sometimes went on like 3 dates a day. I just was sort of like, well, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna, it's a numbers game, and there's only 2 people I think that I met that I really liked, like genuinely, and I was only really attracted to Matt.
The proposal is kind of an interesting story, and we haven't really settled on the same story with the proposal even now. We had been dating, a little over about a year and a half
Yeah.
at the time.
Maybe not even.
Yeah, maybe not even. And I had essentially decided that we were going to get married and decided that we weren't going to have a big wedding, that we wanted to do something really small with just a couple of people, my mom, her dad, maybe a few friends, and that was it. We weren't going to plan anything, we weren't going to spend a lot of money. And kind of next thing you know, the wedding is approaching rapidly and I haven't actually proposed yet. And for a variety of reasons, we decided not to do an engagement ring. Kirsten didn't want 2 rings. I'm kind of opposed to diamonds. But I felt like it was important that the man offer an engagement gift as a token of.
I just wanted a speech.
She just wanted a speech. I felt it was important to give a gift, and since we weren't going to do a ring, I needed to know what she wanted that would be significant and would mean something and be special, and so we talked about it. And so what she wanted was this painting that's on the wall here, and because she had told me, I had said, what do you want? And she said, a piece of art. And I said, well, you are a woman of very kind of eclectic tastes, and it's hard enough to buy a woman like clothing and jewelry, but a piece of art that they're going to like. And so she had said, we'll talk to my friend Scott. Scott's going to direct me to a very specific piece of art, which I will then buy. And he did direct me to a specific piece of art, but it was gone. In the meantime, she thought, because I had kind of made a fuss about, well, I can't just pick out a piece of art for you, that I wasn't going to buy this particular piece, not understanding that, no, I would buy a specific piece. I wouldn't just go out and buy a random piece. So thinking that I was not going to buy it for her and not wanting it to get away, she bought it for herself. So finally, we were about a week away from the wedding. Our parents were set to fly into town in a few days, and I told Kirsten that I was not going to marry her until we were engaged, so that we better figure something out. So she put on her thinking cap and was thinking, I don't know, maybe a bicycle, maybe not. And so I finally decided, all right, this is not going to work. She's never going to tell me what it is that she wants. I'm going to have to figure it out on my own. And I know that she loves this city, and she's into kind of rides and other things that I would think are kind of frightening. And so I came up with the idea of doing a dusk to nighttime helicopter tour over Los Angeles. So I started calling around to a bunch of different places, and wanted to be able to set a lot of them have then we fly over this celebrity's home in Beverly Hills. Well, I don't care about that, and she wouldn't care about that. So I found a place that would let me kind of set our own course. And we drove up there, and so while we were sitting in the parking lot waiting for the helicopter and the pilot to show up and land, they were on another tour. Kirsten got a brief speech in the car in which I proposed. And then we got on the helicopter and went on this nighttime tour over Los Angeles.
I think that a big part of the institution is that it actually is the reason for gay marriage is because marriage gives you so many things, so many legal rights, so many financial benefits. We would have gotten married anyway, but one of the reasons that we got married on the timetable we did was for health insurance. Like, it turned out I had a health incident, and we found out that my health insurance was crazy bad, just crazy bad, and it was like, this is nuts. Like, you know, if we get married, I'll have his health insurance, which is really good, and so that's one part of it, why actually get married by law as opposed to, you know, saying like, I just pledge myself to you, you know, just like done, you know what I mean? Because I felt like that's what we'd already done. Like, I'd already made a decision, like, this is the guy I'm gonna be with, this is the guy that, you know, and then the marriage was something else, but at the same time, and you can interrupt me at any time, but at the same time, there is this thing that happens when you get married that's really different. There's very few things that you can do in your life when you can call something into being just with words. You know, there's huge life things that happen to you, deaths or births or moves or career changes or, you know, meeting somebody or big things, but they are things that happen, and some of them are biological and some of them are kind of just circumstantial, but as far as I know, really, marriage and probably divorce are the two things that you can do in which you can decide to call something into being, you know, to say, with these words, we are going from being individuals to being a married unit, like two people who are still individuals, but now there's this other thing that exists.
Originally, I did not want to get married. For many years, I always said I was someone who would never get married. I didn't believe in marriage as an institution. I thought of marriage as very old-fashioned, and I found kind of ceremonies kind of silly. I mean, and not just wedding ceremonies. I found funerals to be very silly things. What is the point of having a funeral? Someone's died. Why are you having a wake and pretending like it's all great, or everyone's eating food and telling jokes? What? Why would you do that? What a horrible thing to do after someone has just died. It sounded like just the worst idea ever. Who came up with this stuff? This stuff was obviously from thousands of years ago. And, you know, there was a lot of stuff about marriage that really bothered me. You know, that was kind of, you know, obviously its origins were not about romantic love. It was very much about property or about royalty, or, you know, uniting two different clans. Oh, well, if we marry off our son to the daughter in that other clan, you know, we'll stop going to war with each other. But the funny thing is, I guess I've calmed down a little bit as a rabble-rouser as I've gotten older, because I've come to appreciate much more kind of the power of ceremony. And with marriage, you know, I thought, you know, I always intended to be with someone for, you know, my entire life, to find someone to be with, but I just thought, you know, but that would be enough. You would just agree that, you know, I'm the one, you're the one, we're going to do this forever. But then you realize there's not, I mean, and again, and that does involve words, but at the same time, I feel like that doesn't necessarily conjure anything into existence. There's absolutely nothing to prevent either person from just packing their bags and just leaving the next day, as if there's nothing that makes it any more real or any more of a commitment than a second date. There's absolutely nothing, you know, that passage of time in itself does not mean anything. And that marriage, both through ceremony, through the kind of joining of two families, through the symbolism of the ring, and then of course especially through the legal ties, is a real commitment. I mean, you are demonstrating a commitment, and if you decide later you want to get out of it, you certainly can, but it takes some doing. And with marriage, it really forces you to think about it more and think about what it really means to propose and to make those vows and to put on those rings and to tie yourselves legally and financially together. And so I think it's just ultimately, you know, a much more serious thing, and is a much, not just symbolically, but also legally and in various other ways, you know, demonstrates a form of commitment that, so I went from someone being totally opposed to marriage to thinking, oh no, it wouldn't be enough to not be married.